Let's move on. Bath salts. We ran the story last night, and I see it in the newspaper today. Jackie Musto-Carroll considering doing what Andy Jarbola did in Scranton, and that is go to court and get an injunction and get the bath salts off the shelf. Our friends at Channel 28 did a what amounts to a sting operation last night. Joe Holden got one of the cameramen, put him in a hoodie, and sent him into a bunch of convenience stores around Scranton and Wilkes-Barre and some of the suburbs just outside of town. And they weren't able to get them anywhere, so I suppose you could say that Jarbola's injunction in Scranton has evidently worked.
Or the fact that the media has been talking about it, you know,
made a frenzy out of it.
Yeah,
and I'm adding to it here, I guess.
Put the fear of God into, you know, the people who are actually selling them. Representative Barletta signed on as a co-sponsor of legislation that would ban the so-called bath salts and other synthetic drug substitutes.
Yeah, I ran that story last night. That bill also gives the Drug Enforcement Agency, the DEA, the chance to a wider authority to ban something temporarily till they can test it to see whether it should be banned permanently. And it's a pretty good bet. If they ban it temporarily, they want to ban it permanently.
Right. And see, the interesting thing about the bath salts frenzy that you're talking about is that it manifests itself in violent crime. And you had made the point that the woman...
In several instances. We don't know that everybody who's used it has turned into a drug-crazed maniac. I mean, we know we have several instances of them of people claiming they were on bath salts. And that's a key thing.
Well, recently now we had the Times Leader reporting that a woman in Wilkes-Barre has issued a PFA against a former boyfriend because he has been exhibiting signs of being overly possessive and saying that there's a man in the house when there wasn't a guy in the house, and he texted her about 8 or 9 times. So she's actually filed a PFA against this gentleman, saying that the reason why she's doing that is because she fears for her life, because she fears that he's becoming delusional, paranoid, and is being threatening to her.
Because of bath salts.
Because of bath salts, yeah. And again, you know, it's something where I guess it has been proven that it could cause violent behavior. Now, again, you know, there has to, you'd mentioned that there has to be some kind of testing to be concretely clear as to whether, you know, the bath salts were involved in these cases.
I'm used to being the guy with the unpopular opinion that nobody agrees with, but I am not in favor of these bans of these things because, to me, number one, it's a step up of the drug war, and I think the drug war has been a big failure for the last 40 years that we've been fighting it. And two, there's a limit. I mean, how many people have wanted to get that buzzed feeling since the beginning of mankind? And
I understand that completely.
I knew a guy who used to shoot Pam up his nose when we were teenagers.
And you don't want to ban Pam.
Yeah, right.
I understand that.
Testers, model glue, and all this other kind of stuff. How far can you go? At some point, it becomes the responsibility of the people who misuse any substance. This is not society's problem. This is a fault of this woman who did whatever. And we don't even know that she was on bath salts. We know she said she was on bath salts.
Right.
She could have been on angel dust, PCP, acid, or could have been just doing a Thelma and Louise.
Right, but the National Drug Control Policy has issued a nationwide warning saying that when you ingest this stuff, it could be dangerous. And the problem with this is that when people have their own responsibility and take their own responsibility, sometimes when they go out driving, that impacts other people that get in the way.
Yeah.
So again, it's a very, very slippery slope. Senator Bob Casey has called for an immediate ban on bath salts.
Yeah.
But again, I understand your point where you're saying that it's, you know, the individual's responsibility if they want to get high. Well, this is a little bit different than maybe your friend with the Pam, because he wasn't driving in, you know, in the way of people.
Well, he wasn't old enough, but if he
wasn't old enough, okay.
He probably would. All right, we'll break up. We'll come back.
You have some very unique friends, let me tell you.
Grew up on Alter Street. What can I tell you?
There you go.
Topic A Friday afternoon on WILN. Stay here.